You know, when I keep saying to you that what you do is important, well, here's a fine example of ordinary people pushing back and getting a result. Merton Council, which is in London, currently on East Hillside, planned an LTN, a low traffic neighbourhood. And fortunately, several residents of that neighbourhood kicked back. But they didn't just kick back, they didn't just moan and groan on Twitter and Facebook. No, they got active. They called up other businesses in the area and other local residents who would be fuming at such an imposition on their rights and freedoms. I mean, we're told by human rights lawyers that some criminals even that come into the country have a right to their private life. Well, low traffic neighbourhoods take a lot of rights away. For instance, a thoroughfare that would be used for business and pleasure will be taken off some people between certain hours, and they even planned on putting cameras up with number plate recognition to instigate fines. Well, guess what? One councillor that was instigating this, who was in charge of traffic, was getting over 30 emails an hour. So much so that he stood himself down from traffic and went to handle something else. But they've won. The residents have won. They've pushed back. It's not going to be a low traffic neighbourhood because apparently I think it was Lambeth Council who'd suggested it in the first place. Were acting illegally, allegedly, supposedly. So when I go on about email campaigns and when I go on about you being important in this fight, every time we push back in a small area like that, every time somebody gains a victory, and it's happening across the country, let's remember that, we gain strength. And bearing in mind, Reform now have the control of 10 councils, 10 big councils. Lancashire County Council is huge. It has more businesses within it than Manchester. All right, Manchester, we've got more businesses than you. So this is a massive footprint now for people to push back, because this particular victory has got nothing to do with Reform. They weren't in power when it started being unrolled on people. So what I'm trying to do here with this video is prove to you that pushing back does make a difference. They don't take any notice of you when you go marching. That's for your benefit. That's camaraderie. That's to feel good. Nobody cares about how many banners you wave. That's not going to change any legislation. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's just a feel-good factor. It's not actually the battlefield. The battlefield, sadly, it's a Cold War. The battlefield is in emails. The battlefield is in writing to your MP, lobbying your MP, lobbying other MPs, councillors. The battle is getting among it to stop it. To stop these people railroading us from council level up. Councils are absolutely the number one place to start your fight, to start your pushback and get like-minded people. And do you know where this worked, where this was good? Instead of just writing an email as a business, you get all your employees to send an email too. You get every single one of them to moan about it, whatever it is you're petitioning against. You get active. If there's something happening within your family, your constituency, get your neighbours to join in, get your friends to join in, all send individual emails, because all they're bothered about, these councillors and these MPs, is keeping the seat. Getting back in at the next election, at the next opening, keeping the seat. So if enough people push back, which means their position could be threatened, they'll listen to you. It's that simple. And it can work. Moving on, as I do, Keir Starmer today gifts our country over to the EU. Let's make no bones about it. We are a gift. We are basically, more or less, without the red tape, back in the EU. We are now adherent to them for food and hygiene. They've given our fishing away. It's obscene what's gone on. Something this magnitude should have been run through Parliament. How's he getting away with it? What's happening now with the government? This agreement that Starmer's signing up to with von der Leyen in the EU, we must remember the damage to this started off with the Windsor Framework, which was started off by Theresa May, the Tories. So we are now being basically pushed into a vice-like grip where we will be a subordinate to the EU. I'm going to read you out something that Fred de Fossard has written. So the reason I'm reading it from Fred's page, you know he's reliable, he's well thought of, he often prints in the Telegraph. Here's what he has got to say. This formalises the process which began regrettably with the Windsor Framework. The UK is locked into the regulatory orbit of the EU. This benefits the EU in the short term, as it blocks off the UK from competing with the EU and diverging from its regulations. So that means we can't compete against them. We have to stay with them. We voted to leave. We voted to leave. The Tories have started this. It's not just Starmer. Starmer's just reaping the benefits. Starmer is just now able to gorge on the benefits of what the Tories set up, because the Tories gave us a Remainer as a Prime Minister when we'd voted to leave. The members voted for Andrea Leadsom, but conveniently she said something really terrible about Theresa May and had to step down. Oh, did-ums. You're going to have to put your big boy pants on if you're in politics, aren't you? You don't stand down, do you, because you've said something a bit not too nice about Theresa May. What we've got today is a total surrender, because it now puts us in the hands of the EU. So people won't want to invest in us while we're tied to the sclerotic EU. It's just not conducive to people wanting to invest in our country. I mean, the transitional period for fish was a joke anyway, because it gave them the rights from 21 to 26 that they could fish in our waters. But I'll read you out what Tom Harwood's put. From 2021 to 26, 25% of the EU's quota in UK waters went to the UK. I think that's not right anyway. We should have just left. After 26, there were to be annual access agreements negotiated each year and favourable to the British fishing boats. Now, what the government's done, what they appear to have done, is they've agreed to the EU demand, which is French really, to extend the fishing rights into British waters till 2038. The promises of annual reviews are gone, and the British fishing waters slipped from 2016 to 2019 to 2026 and now 2038. This is insanity, utter insanity. We should be the primary fishing vessels in our own area. This government, I'll repeat again, is only maximising the potential of what Theresa May set up. That's the bit that gets me. That's why I can't forgive the Tories. I'll never forgive the Tories for what they've done. They've set this ball in motion and he's been able to reap the benefits of it. This is protectionism to its nth degree. So anybody wanting to invest will swerve us. They won't want to know us, because what's going to happen is that Britain and Europeans are just going to get poorer. Our food prices are going to go up. Starmer's saying they're going to come down. That's only going to come down if we bypass buying from British farms, British fish. What's happened today? Not to mention the defence. I mean, what is done with the defence is ludicrous. It's packaged up not to look as bad as it is, but it is pretty bad. Now, in the first part of the video, I told you about the successes of some residents that they've had on a LTN, a low traffic neighbourhood, that was going to be basically just thrust upon them. I've had messages from people saying that they've woke up one morning and there's a big planter at the end of the road. They can no longer go to work the way they would because they're just getting on with it. But they can't get on with it if you resist. And obviously these people that I told you about in Merton Council, they did resist, and they did it in a very strategic way. Everybody got on board. Businesses in the area got their employees to write individual emails, and if they struggle to write them, they help them with that. And what you've got to do with this now, you've got to write to your MP. It doesn't matter that they're going to come back with the same gobbledygook, and it doesn't matter that basically you don't really want to listen to what they've got to say. What you want is them to listen to you. The strength in emailing is volume, if enough people do it. So if you're going to send it, Ask your husband or your partner if you can send one on their behalf, or if they will send one. Ask any grown-ups in the house if you can send one on their behalf. Make sure you get the volume together. Do it. It works. We've won so much by being constructive this way. The left do it all the time. That's why they get the power base. They know how to do it. They have Facebook groups set up with templates on for people. We don't have anything like that. What we need to do is get more proactive. Unfortunately, taking to the streets doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't achieve anything. Because the other drawback you've got to that, unless the media pick up on it, unless the media actually shows it on the telly, the rest of the country don't know it's happened. It makes the people who turn up to it feel good because there's that many of you. And I know what it's like myself. You know, when I've done a couple of these live events for the councillors for the Reform Party, it's good to be around people who have your opinion and think the same way as you. It's a real good feeling. But unfortunately, as far as demonstrations go, I do believe that in this age of easy communication with, you know, basically messages, WhatsApp, social media and emails, that's the battleground. That's the most productive battleground. If a councillor has resigned from his position on highways because he's had 30 emails in an hour from residents who are pissed off with what's going on, that is a force to be reckoned with. And we could be like that on so many issues. Please have a think about it, digest what I've said and give it a go.